Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the first episode of CyBytes, the show that brings conversations of those working in cybersecurity across UAE and the world, beginner or seasoned. In this episode, we have Jumaa Alhameli, an L2 analyst and a good friend of mine. He's one of those guys who just simply gets it. He has well and truly carved out his path and his career with precision. He does work in defense. However, he is a red teamer at heart. He's a pen tester. He loves it, and an avid gamer. And he's very, very passionate about sharing his knowledge. And so in this episode, we get into a little bit of that. We talk about how he went from being a gamer into being a pen tester, how he understood the concepts and fundamentals of cybersecurity way early on, and how he pivoted into defense and why he chose to go down the SOC analyst path. As well as that, we'll also get into the meat and potatoes of what it takes to become a efficient SOC analyst here in UAE. It's not all fun and games. Hope you enjoy. 1, 2, 3.
Rolling. Let's start rolling.
Let's keep it going. Cool. Welcome to the first episode. Welcome to the podcast, Jumaa. How's things?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. And, Nick, you're a great friend of mine. And also a co-worker, as I would say.
Yeah. I'm one of you guys.
Yeah, you're one of us. So it's nice being here. Also, this is my first podcast ever. Like I have never done a podcast, so I think it is a great experience. It will be a great experience for me.
Likewise. Let's jump straight into it. So, like I said at the start when I sent you all the notes and stuff, it's going to be more about you as a person and kind of your involvement in cybersecurity and how you got started and stuff. So, let me just pass it to you. Here's the torch, tell me a bit about yourself. What do you do? Give me your background.
Yeah, sure. So, my name is Jumaa Alhameli, and I'm a cybersecurity enthusiast. I've obtained my bachelor's in cybersecurity not long ago, and I started my role as a SOC analyst. I also have 4 different offensive security certifications, and my latest one is OSCP. I obtained my certifications while I was studying, so I was a lot more focused in offensive security. But as my job role is SOC analyst, it's like a different, I would say, a different role than the offensive security. But it is a great role because I'm learning the defensive side. So I know how to pen test, but how to evade the defensive measures that are over there. Yeah. So I'm learning a lot of things as a SOC analyst. During my free time, I have some kind of a lab set up at my home, to develop and to develop my skills and knowledge in offensive security, and also as a SOC analyst, because in my home lab I have some SIEM tools that are deployed, and also with my the attacker machines trying to evade some of the SIEM rules that I have implemented. So yeah.
Nice. That's actually something I'll get into in a bit. Actually, I'm quite interested in knowing that a little bit, because obviously you see a lot online from people saying, "Hey, you gotta do build your own home lab," but very few people actually do. So I want to dig deep into that a little bit later on. But I kind of want to ask you a little bit about your, I guess, interest in cyber, right? It's an interesting thing because in the past, I guess, if you talk to like people who have had 20, 30 years of experience in it, they never actually learned cybersecurity. They never really got into it. They kind of just fell into it. Maybe they were like technicians, or they were IT engineers or something, and they just somehow learned something about the cyber element or security element came in. But nowadays it's a bit different, right? Especially for us younger guys. We learn it in uni, right? So what was it to you when it came to actually grasping interest in cybersecurity? Like what element of it made you go, I want to continue this?
So I remember, like, it was a long time ago, I used to play some games, MMO games, and, as a kid, you want to cheat, you want to be the best. And I created a software where it's like it's a fake, let's say it's a fake cheat, but it has a keylogger in it. And yeah, so I was trying to take some, accounts in the MMO game, and it's a bad thing. Like I don't condone this. A lot of people have done this before, and you know, moving on forward, you'll know that it is a bad thing because what you're doing is wrong. Uh, it's like you're stealing someone's effort, and it's like a childish thing that I have done, and so what I did was, after I created that keylogger and everything, I posted it on a forum that is actually where cheats are being posted over there. And one guy, so I think he reversed engineered my program and got my email address from it.
Oh,
So
damn.
the email address that was, it was a setup email address. It wasn't my actual email address. And I contacted that person and I'm like, oh, how did you do this? He explained the process on how to do this. So this got me like, it made me so curious about it. I wanted to learn more on, all these kind of stuff. It is a part of security, but also it is a part of, you know, programming and a little bit of engineering. It made me curious in a way, like, because I knew that I hard coded some of my, information in that program. In a way, it made me think like I have to understand more about security on how to secure myself, how to keep my information private. And later on, I didn't have the foundation knowledge of cybersecurity, so I joined the college. Um, I grew myself in college, and how did I know that like cybersecurity is my thing? I joined some platforms where they had cybersecurity training.
Nice.
Uh, I don't want to mention any platform right now. So I've joined some platforms and worked my way through it. And I remember the first time I got a reverse shell on a machine. When I
It's a
got,
good feeling.
yeah, man, the dopamine, it's like the dopamine was flowing in my blood, and I had this adrenaline rush. So I kept on going, and all these like I had some curiosity on how things work, techniques. I wanted to grow more on this field.
Mm.
So I knew that cybersecurity is gonna be my thing. Once I did that, I didn't feel bored. I was going on it for hours, days, nights. Uh, it got me interested in it, and
Nice.
yeah, I kept on reading blogs, going through the internet, trying to understand new things, learning. So yeah, I had the feeling of the practical work while also studying the theoretical part in college.
Yeah, that's actually another thing I want to speak about as well. Is that you clearly at an early stage, you had a inkling towards it somehow, some way, because someone showed you, right? Someone reverse engineered your code without you even realizing, and you kind of again you fell into cyber, you fell into the security portion without actually understanding what's involved with it. Which led you on this path to go into actually, pen testing and kind of red teaming, if you will. I want to dig into your brain a little bit about why or what makes you want to continue, right? Because now that you're working, it's a little bit different, right? What is it when it comes to you when you want to learn something new? Like, how do you approach something like this, right? What's your technique, if you will?
So I think there are two different type of people on how they learn. Some people, like when they see something that is done in front of them, they will grasp it immediately.
Yeah,
Whereas the others who would go and search, look for some certain details, try to understand and build their knowledge around that. I like having both. So I like seeing something that is being done in front of me to grasp it really fast. It's like based on if I have the understanding of it. But if I don't have the understanding of it, I'll go search on the web about it. So let's say if I'm let's talk about Active Directory. So Active Directory pen testing. When I got into pen testing, I didn't start up with Active Directory. I started up with services and networks. So some like standalone machines and stuff like that. But I've seen that it is demanded by organizations and other companies to have some Active Directory knowledge and pen testing. So I started, researching how does the Active Directory work, what is the Kerberos, how the TGS works, and how the TGT works. I needed that foundation and knowledge of it.
You clearly had the drive to want to be a pen tester, right? You were very focused in going into red teaming, learning, you got shell, you got root, you did a lot of boot to root sort of stuff. That is your kind of driving factor, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be like, I know what to learn now because this aids my goal in becoming a pen tester, right? What about for someone who doesn't know what they want to do? Right. Well, even though they've spent about, let's say, 2 to 3 years of their life or their career in IT, right? Maybe it is in a security role, maybe it's not, but yet they still just can't figure it out what they want to do, right? Learning something new can be quite difficult for them, especially when they don't know what it means to them. Why should they be learning, right? What would your, I guess, advice be for someone in that position? Someone who's completely new to cyber or wants to pivot into cyber, but has some experience in it, or in IT particularly, and they want to learn something new. Whether they can't decide whether they want to go red team or blue teaming. What's your thought on that?
So my thought about that before they even go for any certifications in regards of blue team or red team, there are a lot of available platforms over there that can give some exercises and even the fundamentals of blue teaming or even red teaming. I'll advise them to go to try the red teaming exercises and then try the blue teaming exercises. And from there on, they will know where they fit more. Basically, it is like you're saying, they'll find some weaknesses in themselves, and then they can, list their cons and pros, see what is better for them and what do they understand more. Let's say if an IT guy who is responsible of Active Directories, he's gonna work with both. So if he's put into, let's say, a SOC analyst, he would understand what are the alerts, what is happening and everything. And also if he was in red teaming, he'd understand how does Active Directories works. But he has to have the practical work and try both of them, so he could see himself fit in which role or let's say in which team he can be in. Once I started, it clicked immediately. Like, I felt that this is the path that I want to be in. So once they start something, if they didn't feel the passion about it, they didn't, gave it enough time, let's say, I want to go back and do this right away. So in your free time, you want to do this, you want to do that. If they didn't have that feeling, then I don't think it is the right direction for them. But let's say they started something, it doesn't have to be time consuming. At least they have to have the passion for it.
Yeah, that's another thing as well, is because some people will have the passion for it. You've clearly demonstrated that yourself. But for many others as well, it's more of a monetary pursuit. They'll look at videos on TikTok or even YouTube, be like, make 400K being a SOC analyst in Texas or Houston or something. Would you consider that a valid drive or a valid mission?
I'd say for some people, yeah. Okay, if you got the role itself, okay, let's say no one starts with $400K yearly, of course, but you have to build up on that. So these people who, as you said, in TikTok and other social media platforms, sometimes they just exaggerate, with these kind of things. But it's nice to have, goals, to set up goals. So let's say, I want, to have this much of salary. I think it is a certain goal, and if you have, something in mind to start with, and pursue it, you can reach your goal. It drives people to reach their goals. So I think not it's not only based on money. If you have both things like passion and like the salary itself, it will make you reach your goal very fast.
I mean, I agree with you. You know, it's kind of a multifaceted thing here. It's not just one or the other. Especially the money aspect can really help people get started, right? Which is why I would say this whole TikTok thing, it's attracting people to it, and it does get
Yeah.
people started, right? And that's enough for them to actually experiment new things, experiment with red teaming, experiment with blue teaming, experiment with labs, or heck, even GRC or anything like that. I want to get into your experience as a SOC analyst, because you're clearly a pen tester. You're here with a black hoodie, man. Like
You're
black
wearing a
hoodie.
black hoodie too, man.
It's actually brown.
Really? I thought it was black, man.
You know, you're clearly a very very apt pen tester. How did you end up becoming a SOC analyst?
So I had two offers, either as a SOC analyst or a pen tester. But as a pen tester, you have to wait. Let's say there is no opening for now. You just have to wait 6 months to 1 year. Um, I chose the SOC analyst. I chose this role because I needed the job and to take care of myself, my family, and all of that. So I had to initiate this process and even sacrifice what I love.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, I mean, SOC analyst. I was an L1 and L2 for a little while as well. It was actually my first in a SOC analyst position after some time. You know, before this, I was a lab engineer. I was creating labs for said platform, which is not going to mention on this. And so that experience for myself was an extreme journey, because again, I was in that position. I didn't know what I wanted to be, right? And I thought, let me make that decision to become a SOC analyst. And that in and of itself was a crazy learning journey. Aside from the shifts and aside from the crazy escalations, like what would you say is the negative element of it? Because there's a lot of positivity around this, which is
Yeah.
great, but I want to
Yep.
showcase some of the negative sides of it just to balance the board a little bit.
So just to make so we don't let the viewers run away from this role path. Yeah, SOC analyst, being a SOC analyst is really great. You'll have hands-on experience. You will learn a lot. You will see, it is fun. But the downside of it is, being in shifts, having a lot of alerts in front of you, uh, the triaging part, and the reporting. You have to be 100% focused on this because any small detail that you miss may have a big impact on the infrastructure. Maybe an adversary is trying to get in the infrastructure and you're missing out the small detail. In that case, you have to be someone who is considerate and 100% clear with what you're working with, and also having an open mind. Not only that, also it gives you the knowledge of building up on how to think outside the box, because it's not only based on what you're saying. Sometimes you have to look like inside the infrastructure itself, maybe something that has happened previously, or doing some correlation in between alerts that were happening previously. So you have to have the right mindset for it. As in, also, like the negativity of it, I can't seem to have a lot of negativity on being a SOC analyst, except being, in shifts, night shifts. It's basically like my own perspective, because maybe some other people wouldn't mind being in night shifts. It ends up on a person's perspective on how he thinks it could work.
Like it it does take it out of you. Night shifts, man. Like I put on some
Yeah.
weight on that time. But you're right. Like it is more than just the initial element of analysis, there is a heavy impact on it. And I think that messaging isn't conveyed clearly, or it's difficult to come across unless you actually do speak to said SOC analyst or someone who has been in the field, right? God forbid there's an escalation or a P1 escalation, right? You have to make sure your information is accurate, readable, and actually demonstratable too, right? It goes to the L2. L2 passes on to L3. If it is a deep escalation, they have to chuck it to the IR guys, right? Their information or their direction is charged by the information you feed them, right? If it's bad information, they can only do so much, right?
Yeah, it's like it's a big responsibility because starts from the L1s itself. Like as an L1, you have a big responsibility because if you miss anything, it's your job. You're the first line of defense, and if you miss that, who's gonna find it later on? So I think this job comes with a big responsibility. So you should take it seriously, not think of it as it's a simple job to do.
No, 100%. It's and it can be very difficult to remind ourselves of that. I want to ask you a little bit about mentorship. Right? I've seen you around the office. You do have a very strong network. But from your experience, would you say mentorship has played a key part, if anything? If not, are there any steps that you're willing to take to actually get mentorship from someone?
I had some mentors in the company I'm working with,
Yeah.
and actually they taught me a lot. Like most of what I know in as a SOC analyst comes from them. And basically, I am looking for a mentor right now at my office, but basically we like this shift timings and all of that. We don't have time to be shadowing someone or someone mentoring us, so it is very hard. But of course, you can't build most of the knowledge by yourself. You need someone to guide you, help you, just tell you, okay, I know what your capabilities is, but to even build up on that and be more productive, you have to do this and that. So basically, you will try to better yourself based on the mentor's advice. Basically,
Yeah.
basically because of the shift timing, it's hard to get mentors with you and trying to guide you to the right direction.
Of course, yeah. I think it does play a key part for students, especially and new grads. People who are very new in the field. They don't know what they want to do. Right? They are in a SOC analyst position. They don't have that technical background to be able to say, this is what I want to do. This is their first job. A SOC analysis L1 role is one of the first job for many people, and as anyone who wants their first job, they want to succeed at it. They want to do the best they can. I mentioned previously in our conversation offline as well on our notes and things. UAE is it's growing rapidly, right? With everything,
Of course,
with
yeah.
G42 and Space 42 and everything whatnot. There's massive advancements here, but I personally feel, from my perspective and from conversations and observations I've had, is that it's quite difficult for newbies to find these roles in these new companies or startups. And what's your thought on that? What would you encourage new students or grads to do to get into that position?
So let me just say this. I remember when I was in college, I didn't know what to do, so I was in the same shoe as everyone else. Uh, like I knew that just the foundational knowledge that is coming from the college isn't enough. I want to be that person who stands out when I'm at work, or let's say if I'm going to the internship and start my training. I want to stand out. So what I did was I first searched what kind of jobs I might have in cybersecurity. They had a lot. GRC as a SOC analyst, pen tester, excuse me, and no other roles. So I'm like, okay, let me just look at each one of them, see what is their responsibilities and what do they do in their daily works. Uh, like I was lucky. So the first thing I stumbled on was pen testing. And, it was a big shortcut for me. I didn't have to go and research a lot about everything else. Uh, so I started doing my, the pen testing on the platforms and all of that. And I'm like, okay, how can I help these students who are with me, in being like me? Like I wanted to see myself I wanted to see myself in these students. So what clicked up in my mind, because I've joined a lot of CTFs throughout UAE, I'm like, why don't I do a CTF for these students? Give a workshop and try to introduce them to offensive security. Because I've been in their shoe. I know what they're feeling. They feel lost. They don't know what to do. So I'm like, okay, let's do that. And I did a local CTF in my college. And what happened was everyone in cybersecurity joined. Like the second, third year students and fourth year students joined that CTF. It was really impressive, and the college really liked it. Everyone, uh, they were interactive, they were learning a lot. And once it was done, I had some impact on a few of the students. So let's say maybe 4 or 5 students who are currently getting first places with a lot of reputable companies who are hosting and organizing CTFs. So I felt really good, because these students, it felt like I was a mentor to them. And I'm seeing how they progress, and they're really progressing really well. So it was a good impact on them. I think it is a way to, gamify cybersecurity to students, just to let them learn
Yeah.
on how things work. I know it is not like the real world, scenarios, but you're trying to make it as real as it gets. And basically, it was like something that was missing. So let's say something was missing in the college itself, and I found that thing. But it's not only about offensive security. We have to also think the defensive side, and that's more important. Maybe some people won't like the offensive side. Yeah, because it's not like everyone wants to be a pen tester. Maybe if everyone wants to be a pen tester, then you won't find people who are, willing to be a SOC analyst. Yeah.
That's really cool. Actually, you really took it upon yourself to you took the initiative to build your own workshop, right? You felt, I think it correct me if I'm wrong, but like you took the time to say, look, this is what I've learned, this is what I'm good at. Let me showcase it to my peers. Let me tell them how I did it, how to do it, and actually created competition within your teams, like friendly competition, to actually showcase that. And off the back of that, you actually got a few students on your little mentorship game. You can then continue to develop your own skills that way, right? And I think that's a really key thing. Is even for myself, ever since I became a trainer, right, my communication came into play. I never used to be able to talk so frequently and so technically, if you will, right? As to your point, there's also the defensive aspect that needs to be taught. There's not just no one wants to just do the sexy stuff of hacking constantly, right?
Yeah.
There is a defensive aspect, and on both sides there is communication, which is key, right? That's what the directors are going to look for. Anyone can do a boot to root CTF and be amazing at it, but when the director of the security comes down and asks you what happened the other day, you should be able to, successfully and concisely make him understand, right?
I think in this, like, because teamwork. Why do we have teams? So I think if we can incorporate like someone who can report back. So you have an actual guy who does the job as, let's say, a pen tester. So he's a hands-on guy. And then you have someone who, can relay the message back to other people. I won't say to the manager or the director, but I'd say to stakeholders, or let's say the clients, if you're working for a client. So yeah, it's good to have a designated person who is actually, skilled in that way to relay the message and explain what happened in a fashionably mannered way, not just the cybersecurity, technical way.
Yeah. Hacker came in, APT 3434.
No, it's not. I utilized this tool, to get a reverse shell, and I deployed, a DLL, and then side loaded it, and the client is like, okay, what are you saying? I don't understand.
Yeah.
How is it affecting me? What am I losing? That's what they understand. Yeah.
Honestly, that's one of the things I've realized the most, especially no matter how technical you are, there's someone who's needs to know that technicality in a easier fashion, i.e., if a director or a C-level exec needs to know what has happened. They only have 5 minutes, like I always tell them in my sessions, right? They only have 5 minutes to understand the attack. How are you going to explain a 4-hour campaign in 5 minutes? Right?
It's really tough.
It's tough, right? And so, like, I really agree with you on that point. To have a designated person to collect information, they don't have to be technical. They don't have to be, superior in a certain technology, but they should have communication skills to be able to understand the attack, relay it clearly, in a way with a solution, a possible solution, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Like even like I've been to some workshops, and having someone explaining the whole thing in a short and, let's say, fashionably mannered way is optimal, because you have to just get to the point, and how to mitigate, let's say, the attack that happened. And I think that is not only gonna make the technical guy's life easier, but also it can create jobs in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It's never gonna go away. Yeah. Cool, man. I want to dig deep before we wrap things up a little bit into yourself as a person, right? This doesn't have to be too cyber related if you don't want it to be, but
that's fine.
it's just really up to what your motivation is, whether it is cybersecurity learning, or if you're learning a new skill, or even if it's dealing with a family or something like that, or anything, right? We all face moments of self-doubt. Right, it's inevitable. It can either consume us, or we can do something with that fuel. We could do something with that pain, or however we want to choose to see it. Right? How do you handle that? Right, when you do have this feeling of self doubt, this like inkling of like I can't do it, or I'm not able to do it, or this anxiety that comes up.
So I had these kind of feelings like a lot, but in life, if you're facing a problem, whatever happens, any kind of problem, um, these problems, they will teach you something. So let's say if you didn't, so something happened to you or anything, and it's like some kind of experience, even if you doubt yourself. Oh, I had this happen to me, or this happened to me. I'm afraid that it's gonna happen again. So you take what happened to you as an experience, and try to better yourself. Think of it as a way that, okay, what did I do wrong, and how can I, not have this, or not do the same mistake again. What kind of approach should I take? You have to sit and think about it, or as in the other factor where you said you doubt yourself into succeeding something. If you have an exam or whatever it is, and you keep on doubting yourself, I don't think I'm gonna pass or I think I'm gonna fail, man, just go for it. It's it's like don't wait, don't think about it. Do what you gotta do, study for it, and just go straight forward on it. You're not gonna lose anything because as long as you're alive, it is you can redo it again, you can retry it again. You're not failing. There is no such thing as failure. It's like it didn't go well or it went well, and you can do it again.
That's a really good approach to that. Myself, I'm going to ask this to a lot of my guests as well because I'm a very anxious person. I don't know if you can tell, but and I myself, I kind of apply the same sort of thinking when it comes to my outside of cybersecurity. I play music. I'm in a band, right? I finally reached that stage of, I no longer have stage fright. It's not a problem anymore. It used to be the case where you're panicking so hard before the show, or, I'm not going to play the right notes, or, talk to the right band member, or plays, all this sort of stuff can go wrong. So many things can go wrong. But for me, it changed when I kind of just came to terms with the fact that it's not going to fail. You're just going to keep going. You're going to keep going, and it's going to be fine, right? If you screw up a little bit, you have a whole day ahead of you. The day is going to move on. It's going to be, Tuesday tomorrow, and no one's going to remember what happened.
Of course.
Right.
So the same thing as when you're presenting something to a very big crowd. I remember I had this kind of anxiety, or let's say the stage fright, if you want to call it. And at the first 10, 20, 30 seconds, you will be a bit, stuttering, maybe afraid to say something wrong, or, and it will get your heart pumping and blood flowing. So I remember I had these kind of things, but, just kept on going. I tried to, not think about it a lot, and it just went for it. And yeah, time after time after time after time, and I got used to it. So I can speak publicly in front of a big crowd with, no hesitation and all of that. So
yeah, repetition is another
the
key point here, right?
Yeah.
Repetition legitimizes. The more you do it, just the better you get at it. That's simple as that, right? A lot of us tend to make cybersecurity our lives, right? We tend to go deep into learning and become so engulfed about into it, and it just kind of consumes us. Clearly, you were a gamer before, right?
I stopped long time ago.
I was going to say, is that something you do still, or?
It's time consuming. I don't have time. Like, I want to progress. I don't want to play games. I do that maybe once a month for an hour, just to change up a bit and to have fun. It's like you're doing that for fun, but you don't have to do it every day. There are some other ways to have fun.
Yeah, which are in your case?
Creating labs, do some pen testing. This is what I see as fun now.
Fair enough. Nice. You're glued behind that screen, man, constantly.
And like with work and everything, like I used to, have some certain screen time. Like I'd do 12 hours a day, but right now, because with all the shift and stuff like that, work, it is more than 12 hours. So I'm staring into a screen for like maybe 16 hours, something like that, which is a lot. And I have to get some glasses for the
blue light blockers.
Blue light blockers.
I need to find a company to sponsor this podcast that provides those.
Yeah, so like if your podcast is all about cybersecurity, then they will.
Whoever's watching, bring them my way. Oh man, cool. So I do want to get your advice, right? For listeners who are tuning in to a new podcast, learning about this industry, about this country. What would be your recommendations or advice to those in that situation, whether it's a new career change or pursuing something in cyber or anything, or you have a unique perspective to share, go for it.
I think it's a great opportunity for people who are from outside the country to come here and explore more about the job opportunities in cybersecurity, as well as UAE is rated as the top one country in security, not only the cybersecurity, but also as in law. Like it
Yeah.
is safe to live here, and the people are really great. We have a lot of nationalities over here, and everyone treats everyone, the same way. You can't find people who are, being rude to someone else or anything. It is a safe country to live here
Mm.
and even grow a family over here. So I think it is a great, great thing for people to come and explore UAE and uh, get their job opportunities over here and work here. Also for people who are trying to move into cybersecurity, as we discussed earlier about finding what, the key part in finding what role they want to be in the future, because they already have some experience in IT or whatever. So they will need to understand more about that role before moving into it.
Thank you for providing your advice on this. You clearly have a lot of experience that's quite unique and quite personal, and that's my objective with this podcast, is to showcase that. Right, not many
Hmm.
people get a chance to speak with SOC analysts such as yourself who have had this experience, and so I'm really keen to get people such as yourself to on this podcast.
I can give the experience to people who haven't yet started a job, or they're still, undergraduates. So I think it is a very good opportunity for these kind of people to, relay this kind of information to them, and for them to listen to this kind of podcast. They can figure out some kind of things. It may help or it may not help, but I think it might help some people.
Yeah, 100% as well. Like, we each have our level of skill and experience, right? Whether it's 3-4 years of SOC analyst or 20 years of SOC analysis, right? You are where you are, and you're looking towards a particular goal, right? I
Hmm.
might be butchering this analogy, but
Uh,
you're here, and the mountain you're going for is over here, right? You have this much years of experience, and someone coming here is also looking at that mountain, but they're so afraid about getting to that. They need to know how to get to where you are, so they can make the same steps, right?
yeah, like this guy throws a really good, explanation on how it works. Of course,
Mm.
I can see someone who is on top of the mountain, but sometimes if he's gonna tell me some information I might not understand, so I have to look for someone who is at least, midway through the mountain, that I can shadow follow this guy's steps, as in how did he reach that point? How did he become where he is right now?
Yeah.
So the same goes for people who are just starting in cybersecurity. Like if I told them something that is, let's say, as an expert, they wouldn't understand that. So I have to break it down, from the bottom to up, explaining every level and everything until we reach the point that they're asking about. Getting people who are from different, let's say, uh, categories of experiences. Let's say having someone who is more, let's say, 1 year experience, and then having someone who is 5 years of experience, and then having someone who is 20 years in experience. And being in that podcast, everyone would, like a person who has 5 years of experience can look at that guy who has 10 years of experience and be like, oh, I understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
100%. Yeah. 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 Nice, man. Um, Cool. I mean, I do want to give you the opportunity to kind of showcase anything you might be working on right now, or any personal projects, or maybe even businesses. Um,
uh, what me and Nick suggested is a lot of people are thinking of the offensive part, but they're forgetting about the defensive part. So we found a gap, and we're trying to fill out this gap by, you know, creating some workshops, trainings, and challenges for universities, companies, just to get the people started and see how both worlds work. Maybe they get interested in defensive instead of being offensive.
Yeah.
So yeah, these currently are the two projects I'm working on. In UAE, I think it is a great way, to introduce something to a lot of people.
Yeah. Make defense great again, right?
Yeah, make defense great again. Yeah, that's correct. I think we should have it as a slogan,
Oh man. Jumaa, thank you so much for this. This was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining this podcast, for being on the pilot episode. It was we'll workshop a little things here and there, but I'm excited to kind of showcase this to people and release it out.
I think it's a great opportunity, and maybe I'll be in the sequel episode.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. How can people reach out to you if they want to get in touch?
So my LinkedIn is open for everyone. Anyone can shoot me through LinkedIn, message over there. I reply to everyone. Doesn't matter who is it, where is from, or how many followers you have. I like replying to questions. I like talking with people, getting to know a lot of people. So yeah, like my DMs are open over there.
Sounds good. Thank you all for listening to the first episode. If you need to get in touch with myself or Jumaa, you can get in touch through LinkedIn or any other forums you might see us on. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening to the first episode of CyBytes. I hope you liked it. As I said earlier, if you want to get in touch with myself or Jumaa, you can find our details in the show notes. Feel free to send us a DM, get in touch, we can chat a little bit. If you want some advice in the industry here, we're more than happy to help. See you in the next episode.